Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Going into the draft, many looked at one of the Saints' biggest needs being tight end. Of course, they signed Juwan Johnson to a 2-year extension. Adam Trautman entering the final year of his rookie contract, who just hadn't been a great contributor. We knew the Saints were in the tight end market. They brought in Foster Moreau to New Orleans for a workout, which, as we know, that's when they found the lymphoma and diagnosed him with lymphoma. So we know the Saints had a tight end need. And the draft came and went, and not only did they not draft a tight end, the Saints lost one of their tight ends. As we saw, day 3, the Saints traded Adam Trautman to Denver. Trautman and a 7th-round pick to the Denver Broncos for a 6th-round selection that the Saints would use on wide receiver A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest, which is a pick, by the way, just as an aside, that I love. A.T. Perry, almost 6'4", 200 pounds, 4.47 40, was the best receiver on those Wake Forest offense with Sam Hartman pulling the trigger. That was a wide-open offense, back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. I love A.T. Perry. I think it's an amazing pick. So you give up a 7th-round pick and Adam Trautman, who was not performing for you, for A.T. Perry, I'll take that deal. I think that's a total win. And for Trautman, maybe this is an opportunity for him to kind of push the reset button. So Trautman did give an interview with Mike Kliss of 9news.com and asked about the trade. Trautman said he requested the trade. He said, quote, "I was actually kind of hoping to get moved. This was initiated by me personally. I've been waiting for a little bit for something to materialize, and it just happened to be the Broncos, obviously." So Trautman goes to Denver, joining Sean Payton, who was the coach of the Saints who drafted him in his second season in the league. Trautman caught 27 balls for 263 yards and a couple of scores in just 13 games. That was with Sean Payton calling plays. This past year, Trautman's production decreased. They primarily used him as a blocker, and Juwan Johnson became the pass-catching tight end. So when they drafted Trautman in round 3, the hope was, as they have been looking for ever since the Jimmy Graham trade, for the next Jimmy Graham. And you all know the names. They signed Kobe Fleener in free agency. That didn't work out. They brought an aging Ben Watson back, who was productive, but it didn't really work out as it had when he was younger. Jared Cook obviously had its high points and low points, but everyone will always just remember his last game in a Saints uniform, which ended up being Drew Brees' last game in a Saints uniform. They drafted Adam Trautman in round 3. They just have not been able to find that guy, that pass-catching tight end. Maybe they have it now with Juwan Johnson, a big converted wide receiver. But so it's not surprising that they would trade Trautman, considering they extended Juwan Johnson and Troutman's production and opportunities haven't been very good. He just never materialized in New Orleans, so you were able to get something for him. Great. The only surprise is that they didn't draft a tight end, is that they didn't try to fill that void. So when you look at your tight end options right now in New Orleans, you've got Juwan Johnson in place. But outside of that, you're short on options. You've got Lucas Krull, who they signed a year ago as an undrafted free agent out of Pitt. He didn't play this past year. After Krull, you've also got Miller Forrestall, who's an undrafted free agent, member out of Alabama. So you got a couple of other guys who are undrafted free agents. You signed Joel Wilson, who's an undrafted free agent this year out of Central Michigan. He was a guy who could have returned to school, elected to turn pro. He's a big pass-catching tight end, played at a smaller school. Central Michigan, of course, coached by Jim McElwain, former Florida coach. So sort of an innovative offensive system there with McElwain, who knows how to use the tight end, as he did when he was at Florida as well. The real problem you have if you're New Orleans and you're looking at, okay, where might I be able to find tight end help? You're not going to get it in this free agent class. Here's your available tight ends. Maybe most notable is 31-year-old Cameron Brate. Now, you know the player because he was in Tampa and he's been a very good pass-catching tight end, but It's safe to assume Cameron Brate is nearer the end of his career than he is the beginning of his career. After Brate, you've also got Jeff Swaim, Dan Arnold, Mercedes Lewis, Cethan Carter, Adam Shaheen, Ryan Griffin, Kyle Rudolph, who's now 33 and just came off a terrible season in Tampa, Eric Tomlinson, Tyler Croft, Steven Anderson, Anthony Ferkser, Richard Rodgers, Jesse James, Max Williams, Michael Pruitt, Ian Bunting, Foster Moreau, Eli Wolf, Tommy Sweeney, Mitchell Wilcox. That's the list. I feel like the construction workers in Major League, when they're like, who are these guys? That's how I feel when I look at this list. Honestly, your best bet, and this isn't just like home cooking, homerism, whatever. Your best bet is Foster Moreau gets healthy, which, of course, we're all praying for that just from a life perspective, which is so much more important than football. But if we're just eliminating that and talking about just football, Foster Moreau is your best bet. It's Foster Moreau or 31-year-old Cameron Brate. And honestly, I don't know that Brate at 31 or any point of his career was really good all-around tight end. He was a very good pass-catching tight end. Foster Moreau could be the guy that you look for that could be the inline blocker and also the pass catcher to complement Juwan Johnson. So that, or you hope you hit on Joel Wilson as an undrafted free agent, or a guy like Lucas Krull or Miller Forrest has a big boom in year 2, or you go make a trade for a tight end somewhere. But what assets do you have to give? That's the other tough part right now. So Adam Trautman out. That doesn't surprise me. The general lack of options at tight end does surprise me for the New Orleans Saints. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.